G'day viewers, it's the end of another week. Time for Totally Fucked Up AZ.
Hello.
Friday.
Hello, how you going? How you going? Hello, I'm here.
And my wordy, haven't we had another fucked up week? Yet again, we get to concentrate on Australia this week. Oh, and the big news this week was major anti-terrorist operation.
Huge.
Like hundreds of cops.
600 police persons.
As it turns out, to focus on one dude.
Yeah, they did 4 arrests.
Yeah.
4 arrests.
The focus was one person.
Imagine being passed around by 100 cops because they'd all need to get one in.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm just going to say, look, first up, if Johnny Jihadi is actually guilty of what they're saying, fuck that guy.
Fuck him.
Fuck the whole thing, of all the things that really shit me, the old homegrown jihadist, which does exist virtually everywhere in the world, fuck those guys. It's like spitting in the face of people who look after you, fucking over your own people, making their lives miserable, and it's like so fucking detached from reality. This shit dream of yours of a caliphate, it's never gonna fucking happen.
It's completely impractical.
It's like, it's fucking stupid on top of everything else. I mean, okay, some people are just cunts, basically.
Yeah, true story,
Yeah, but this is just stupid. So if this guy is actually guilty, then fuck him.
Fuck him.
Why we actually need the theatre of 600 cops, I'm not altogether sure. If it may or may not be directly related to what the government's trying to justify at the moment with foreign troop deployments, increasing surveillance on us.
Back in another Middle Eastern country, because the last time we did that, it went so well.
And, it actually turned out the Attorney General's trying to push a law that is essentially protecting ASIO if they happen to torture anyone. And yes, legalising torture in Australia.
Oh, yeah.
It's really hard to mistake the wording of this legislation, like they shan't be held responsible unless they actually kill someone or commit a sex crime or seriously injure them. So
seriously injure. And I like seriously injure because one man seriously injure is another one's bronze up and tar fuck them.
Yeah. But even without actual, like, physical dismemberment, one of the favoured form of torture are the various psychological tortures which permanently traumatise people. And the US has done this bullshit as well. Well, we didn't leave a mark on him. Sure, we waterboarded him, but there's not a mark on him. The sensory deprivation that we kept up for 5 weeks, and the person actually went insane after the second day, but not a mark on him.
Don't worry about it. He's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. He drools a little bit and screams at shadows. But beyond that, we think he'll sleep very well.
So, yeah. And the other disturbing part about our lad getting arrested is the fact that we'll probably never actually know what the evidence against him was. It'll be a closed court thing for our own protection.
We won't need a jury.
I mean, they've been showing his fucking picture everywhere and basically saying he's guilty. Like, throwing out any traditional idea of a fair trial, I think the general consensus is he doesn't need a fair trial.
He doesn't need a fair trial. That kind never does. You need to grab him by the ghoulies and string him up as a result in a bloody show for the others of his kind. String him up by a light post, by his ghoulies, let him squeal a little bit, because they like to squeal. Yes, they do. They like to squeal.
And there's been a fuck ton of that sort of attitude come out really quickly.
Fucking
just
everywhere.
Filthy racism and bigotry. Oh, and by the way, anyone, if you're the sort of fuckhead who goes, when you're called a racist for this racist bullshit, and you go, Muslims aren't a race, how can I be racist? That statement couldn't identify you more clearly as a racist if you were wearing a fucking Klan hood, okay? Arguing semantics like that when you're being a horrible, bigoted shithead just really tells everyone what sort of a shit you are, okay? It's like Corey Bernardi going, oh, I did notice in the raid, there's the woman wearing a burqa. We should ban that. Yes, in the name of freedom, we should legally prescribe what people can and can't wear.
Corey, that suit you're wearing offends me.
Yeah,
I think you should take it off in the middle of a crowded room while everyone's watching, and I will paint on you the areas of offence that you have given me as a lesson to you and your kind.
And I assume nuns would also be prohibited from wearing their habits.
Those bitches, get the habit off. Oh my God, you don't know what they're hiding under there.
Unless it's not actually about what they're wearing and it's about bigotry and prejudice against one particular group.
It wouldn't be that.
No.
It wouldn't be that.
No.
We don't do that here in the Federal Parliament of Australia.
Oh, so there's that shit going on. But there was also just some weird fucked up shit. The day before this raid happened, all the Murdoch tabloids decided to do a front page saying, yay, Scott Morrison's our hero.
He's our hero.
Because he did...
I don't know what he does because he won't tell us.
No, he won't. He won't tell us what he's... But he suddenly decided to tell us about, yes, I successfully turned back the boats. He's glossed over the torture and the deprivation and sending people back to their torturers. But I turned the boats back.
I turned the boats around. They were sinking and leaking, but who gives a shit? Because there's only darkies on them.
Hey? And so he's been lauded as a hero. We've glossed over it. And so that would be bad enough if you just glossed over all the shit they did. But then they were doing these weird fucking covers. For some reason, the Melbourne Herald Sun didn't so much. The Sydney Daily Telegraph did this weird Photoshop. I think it was meant to be Admiral Nelson with the headline "Victory at Sea," and it was just fucking weird. But I
like the army we're fighting, desperate, homeless, tortured people on the run from an oppressive government with nothing. I mean, I hope all our enemies are that scary.
Yeah, in fact, we've been sending them back to Iraq and Syria, but now apparently we have to send troops in because of how fucked up Iran and Syria. We can send families, kiddies back there, that's okay, but we have to send troops as well, and I'm not really sure.
No. You've been running away from ISIL. Don't worry about that. They'll be good to you when you get home.
Anyway,
home you go.
So that aspect would be bad enough. But then the Brisbane Courier Mail, their Photoshop. Do you remember when George Bush stood on a deck of an aircraft carrier right at the start of his Iraq invasion and it said mission accomplished? They superimposed our boy's face where George Bush's should be. So Scott Morrison's there with mission accomplished. So despite the fact it's sort of icky, in the Courier Mail they are apparently too stupid to know that image has become synonymous with failure.
And incompetence.
And hubris. And saying that you've accomplished before terrible, terrible things happen. Sure. Because I actually looked it up because I knew that happened early, but I didn't realise how early. At the point... Yeah. The point Bush went, mission accomplished. There had only been about 120 fatalities in US troops. There were 4,000 to come. Okay, so after mission accomplished, 4,000 deaths. Oh, and we don't give a shit about the brown people, but the Iraqi deaths were somewhere north of 500,000.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Don't
worry about it. They weren't.
Yeah, it's just like... The Courier Mail is not just slavishly parroting this bullshit of the government. They're also too stupid to know when they're fucked up on this scale.
And it was spectacular. It is... it's one of those things in history where you go... peace in our time. And everyone goes, no, that was a fuck up. Oh, but I still got the piece of paper.
And it's just, is this going to be prophetic? Like, is it going to turn out that badly? And these people but they're never held responsible. They're never answerable for their bullshit. And it's like, it just doesn't matter. Like, right up to, I think, King Fuckwit of the Week, like, the absolute pinnacle of stupid, actually self-proclaimed... is one Andrew Bolt, who I've mentioned before, and I try not to mention him.
Boltmeister.
I try not to mention him too often.
Because I tend to do vain work.
Yeah, and you don't want to give the fuckwit the attention. Like, I know some people on the left who obsessively read all of his stuff and attack... why would you do that to yourself?
Give yourself ulcers, don't do it.
But I had to have a look because someone showed me a screenshot where Bolt calling himself stupid. Now, what it turns out, he's referring...
Hang on, what?
Yeah.
Bolster, the Boltmeister, calling himself stupid.
He was referring to... there's a show called Q&A, which is on the ABC here, and I often don't watch that because it makes me want to put a brick through the TV.
Yeah.
When the people are... Now, apparently there are several scientists, including, I think, the chief scientist of the CSIRO, and they're all saying various things about how bad the problem we're facing with climate change is.
Because... it's actually bad.
And in fact, the most recent study said with the rise in temperature over the last 60 years, which has been consistent, anyone who says otherwise is flat out lying, okay? The temperature's been going up. If you're under 30, you have not experienced a month on this planet with below average temperatures. It's been above average every month for the last 30 years. And it's been rising for the last 60. And they said the chance of that not being caused by human-created greenhouse gas emissions is basically less than 1 in 100,000.
I'll take those odds. I'll take those
They're
odds.
like 99.999% sure humans are fucking this shit up, right?
Yeah, wholesale.
Bolt has come out and said, I think, right, he thinks he's being funny. I think he's doing, in his mind, it's ironic hyperbole.
Right.
But it's actually just the truth, where he goes, oh, well, he literally says, I didn't even finish my arts degree, but I still think the chief scientist and several bloody Nobel laureates and PhDs should just pull their heads in. But don't listen to me. I'm an idiot.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you are.
Yes.
Yes, you fucking are. Yes. And it gets worse than that. He doesn't just say, oh, you're just blinded by their credentials. It's like he's basically saying, scientists are just standing up and saying, I'm Mr. Science, just listen to what I say. No, they're actually presenting mountains and mountains of evidence.
If you actually, one of the things you can do when you talk to climate change deniers is point them to websites where most scientific organisations in the Western world have data dumps of all of the points of data they've collected over the last 20 or 30 years, and there are millions of them. And you can actually, and they want you to go and check their results. They say, go and look at the numbers. These are the numbers we got from the field.
But they just lie. They say, oh, they've been making that. No, they haven't made it up. No, they haven't fudged it. It's all there. And the deniers claim isolated data points or isolated people and say, because of that, everything's wrong.
It all falls down. It all falls down.
And Bolt went in this awful circle. He didn't just say, oh, you're just blinded by their credentials. You're ignoring facts. And then he went on to say, look, here's a scientist who says a thing that I extrapolate to mean no climate change. So he's actually said, don't listen to scientists, listen to me. Because here's a scientist who says something that But you just said all of the scientists don't count. Yet somehow this one scientist...
No one likes a smart ass, Andrew. No one likes a
smart ass.
He's not even
a climate scientist.
You've pointed out a tiny little piece of detail here that's really not within the spirit of what the Boltmeister's trying to say. And what the Boltmeister's trying to say is that he's entitled fuck off.
And that's it. That is the... fucking this is what we have, right? This person literally is standing there saying, ignore everyone who's qualified because I say so.